Bruce Johnson, founder of Wired to Grow here, and today I want to talk to you about how to increase customer retention by creating more remarkable experiences. I was talking with one of my clients recently, and he was talking about a problem that I'm sure you've probably run into as well, the customer retention problem. And basically what was happening is that he had a number of, and I don't want to talk about his industry, so I'm just going to call them customers, number of customers that early on had good compliance. In other words, they're regularly coming up, they're regularly showing up, they're regularly using his service. And then over time, less and less, and eventually kind of, petering out. And so the question was, how in the world do I turn that around? To give him an answer, I said, why don't you take out a piece of paper and draw a 9-box grid kind of like this. And on the bottom, on the horizontal, I want you to put the word process. And over here on the vertical, I want you to put the word product. And using an illustration of a restaurant, I said, let's think about the process as kind of the experience. So you go to a restaurant, and the experience of that is the process. The product would be the food. And so I said, now when you come to a restaurant, you have certain expectations. So the restaurant can actually not meet your expectations, or exceed your expectations in the process. And they can either meet your expectations, not meet your expectations, or exceed your expectations on the process, on the product side. Now, let's say you go to the restaurant, you have expectations when you walk in. You expect that the food is probably going to be good. You expect that the table is going to be clean. You expect that the temperature is going to be decent, right? You expect that the wait staff are going to be nice. So you have these expectations about both the process and the product. And when you go to a restaurant and you have a good meal, the product was good, the process was good, what happens? Well, we tend to think that we get a fan out of that. The reality is we don't. Ken Blanchard says you end up getting a revolt waiting to happen. A revolt waiting to happen, which means the next time you and your spouse, if you're married, or you and a friend, if you're not, go out to eat, you're going to sit there and say, where should we go this time? And you're probably not going to go back to the original restaurant, right? Because, well, it was good. But now we're a revolt. Now we're ready to go someplace else. The only way to get fans is you have to exceed them either on the process or on the product. So if the process is phenomenal, for example, years ago my wife and I, my brother and his wife took my parents for their 50th anniversary up to Gramercy Tavern restaurant back when Tom Colicchio used to be running it. And it was one of the best experiences we've ever had. The wait staff was phenomenal, right? So on the process, they exceeded, so we were automatically a fan. Or you could exceed on the product. There's a local restaurant here, Opal, which my wife and I love, and the ricotta gnocchi is unbelievable. I mean, like pillows, are just phenomenal. And so you can do that and you become a fan. Now the best option, if you want to get a raving fan, is you got to figure out how do I exceed both on the process and the product. And both those restaurants actually do that. Just want to give you two different illustrations. So the goal here is to figure out how do I exceed on the process or the product or both. Now here's what most people don't think about. If you do something that's remarkable, that's different than any of your competitors are doing, good news. You can create some fans, maybe even some raving fans. But what happens to the expectations of your customers once they've experienced you? That's what people don't think about. What happens is that what exceeded their expectation now becomes their normal expectation, so that everybody on the planet moves from remarkable to ordinary to death, right? It moves from the time they were a raving fan. If you keep doing what you've been doing over a period of time, it's less and less remarkable because the expectations have changed. So if you're running the same game 3 months from now, 6 months from now, 9 months from now, 12 months from now, even worse, 2 years or 4 years or 6 years from now, that you were X number of years before, no wonder you're dealing with customer retention problems, because everything in life goes from the upper right down to the lower left. It always does that. I don't care if you're Disney. The first time you go to Disney, remarkable. The second time, less remarkable. Third time, your kids are thinking, I'm not so sure I want to go. The fourth time, people are saying, hey, let's go to Universal, right? Like everything in life goes from this upper right down to the lower left. Everything. So if you're running the same game plan, that's a problem. Why do people go to churches, love them, and then stop going? Why do people go to your chiropractic thing and then go less? Why do people join your membership organization or your chamber and they start out excited and then less and less, right? Because you keep running the same game. It doesn't matter what your business is. Everything in life goes from the upper right to the lower left. And if your expectations have changed, you keep running the same thing, no wonder the revolt's waiting to happen. So how do you turn this around? Well, once you own this, then every 3 to 6 months, you should be getting together with your team, pulling this back out and saying, okay, what are we going to change up? Either on the process or the product or both of them, so that we keep pushing people back up into the upper right-hand corner. That's the key. You and your team, every 3 to 6 months, pull this out. How are we going to change process and product, or better even both, so we can keep creating fans and they stay fans, not for 3 months, not for 6 months, not for a year, not for 2 years, but year after year after year after year after year. You can do that. But that's how you increase customer retention, because you stop running the same play. You keep reinventing by figuring out how to exceed either on the process or the product or both. And if you do that year after year, you'll create great customer retention and great word of mouth. So hopefully that helps you. If you enjoyed today's video, I encourage you to pass it around, make sure you like it, and subscribe to our brand new YouTube channel. And until next time, to your accelerated success, Bruce out.